4th Edition Core Rules, Constructive Feedback Edition. I'm really enjoying 4th so far, besides the state of my army. Damage allocation onto units rather than models is a big time saver, good quality of life. 3-inch combat range is great as well for the same two reasons. Adding keywords and abilifying everything, getting a little active player, non-active player, order of operations with reactions are all very nice. Priest change is fun. 4 command points per battle round is just the right amount. They feel limited, but very impactful. Getting rid of Battle Shock without replacement was a brave move and entirely correct. In the past, I had said that they shouldn't change Bravery because GW couldn't be trusted to get it right, and if it ever mattered, it wouldn't be fun. But then they hired Matt Rose, and he just threw it out like the trash that it was. Nice. Also, Triumphs and rolling for terrain affixes both in the bin. Don't let the door hit you. It's not all roses, however, so I'd like to offer some feedback on some of the bigger pain points and proud nails for me that have cropped up while playing. Consider it playtester feedback, except I'm not a playtester and the game's already out, so who knows. In no particular order, number 1, the first suggestion is maybe boring. But I hit this issue the first time I tried to look up a rule. I think the numbering of rules should have a further distinction as to which pack module or section it's in. So Core Rule 1.1 should be shorthanded in the text as C11, Terrain Section Rule 1.1 as T11, Magic Section M11, Army Composition A11, etc. Basically, anytime you start over at 1, put a unique letter in front of it to show what section it's from at a glance. Number 2, I suggest allowing battle formations, heroic trait, artifact choices to be made at deployment, rather than during list building. This introduces a concept of sideboarding into the game without the need of buying or bringing extra models. With the length of AOS games, my goal is to reduce blowouts and rock, paper, scissors hard counters for a game 1 that only plays 1 game per tournament round, rather than best of 3, and 2 that generally only has time for 1 game to be played in an evening casually, unlike, say, Magic or fighting games where you can just shuffle up for a rematch immediately. Also, there are a lot of silver bullet choices that are mostly unplayable, and this change would give many of them life free of charge. Number 3, you shouldn't be able to summon manifestations on the opponent's turn. I gave this one more playtesting than some of the others to make sure, but the more I play, the more I think it's just not okay. The absolute spam of these things is already annoying and the game just came out. Having lores with 3 and even 4 of these per was probably too many. The rules for when these count as units are fuzzy and a frequent reminder point as I watch games. I think you just have to memorize it. Number 4, if you take a double turn, you should probably be ineligible from gaining the Underdog bonus command point for the rest of the game. That was your comeback. The clean slide from turn 2 double into no battle tactic into automatic Underdog bonus despite you probably winning at that point, I think is a bit too strong as a strategy. While the concept of a comeback mechanic is quite proper for a game that takes this long to play, it's real hard to think of a system in-game that can determine who is actually winning and who is actually losing at any one time. It reminds me of that quote from Supreme Court Justice Potter Stewart when asked to define pornography versus art. I'll know it when I see it. As a player, you can look at a game state and more or less figure who's winning, however you define that. But the game itself isn't that smart. It can only look at things like victory points or how many units are dead, how many points of units are dead, and these are not great on their own and can be gamed by the players as we are seeing. Number 5, the regiment system of army building is extremely toxic to pet units, particularly pet heroes. If you can zoom into every single army and pinpoint the otherwise bad heroes to make them free, that would be one thing, but I don't understand why you couldn't have just made them not bad in the first place. On the flip side of that note, making a bad hero gatekeep some other choice is always worse than just making the hero good or cool. I should want to play it naturally instead of feeling forced to. Some armies seem designed to require tons of heroes, and so they just have to be super high drops. I wonder if this was an intentional balance knob or just so happened to be the case. The way it used to work is that you could go for low drops, or if you couldn't do that, you at least got an extra artifact out of the deal from a battalion. And it wasn't really worth the trade-off even then, but now you're just out of luck if you're high drops. I would ask for a lot more free hero additions in any case. Number 6. 2-up on a D3 mechanic is a good streamline for reducing the number of dice rolls during a game, but I think more care should be taken as to where to put these. Failing 33% is probably fine for frequent minor abilities, but not effects that already needed a previous die roll to enable, like charges, spells, and prayers. And certainly not for once per game effects, which should not have a die roll that can fail. Once per game, nothing happens is a real kick in the teeth. Number 7. Abilities that can move you into combat, like Murderlust and Mighty Destroyers, should probably just not be able to move you into combat, especially after a redeploy. It's kind of a toxic gotcha move, and once you know about it, maybe someone can help me out. I haven't found any meaningful counterplay to it. Maybe this is because I play the army that has to charge and also sucks. Let me know in the comments. Number 8, companion keyword restriction doesn't make sense to me. It's a core rules limit to a class of weapons that aren't really that great to begin with. They have a higher than average rend and damage value for sure, but that is already balanced by having a low number of attacks and hitting on 4s. Buffs that would land on monsters are supremely eclipsed by those same buffs that will land on reinforced units. You might net a monster plus 2 attacks, but the same spell nets, say, Gluttons plus 12, Grimghast plus 20. If there's 1 or 2 specific instances here and there that are too good, then keyword those out. Game-wide core ruling this feels like nerfing the memory of something someone thought was too good 5 years ago, but is just no longer an issue in 4th edition. And number 9, perhaps my most controversial and impossible suggestion, but one I'm looking for feedback for, battle tactics should not give victory points. They should give 1 command point, and that point would last you until you use it, unlike the normal 4 that flush out every round. This would more directly tie in-game play to in-game reward and in-game power, and it would soften the snowballing of points, the turn 3 I'm just too far behind to do anything situations. And can we finally stop using battle tactics as tiebreakers in tournaments? There's no upside. It's just a bad idea. They reward the easiest path to the top rather than the most challenging, like Strength of Schedule would, and discourage creative play. Imagine if chess penalized you for too many pawn sacrifices, even though you won. We had this exact same argument in 1st edition about why kill points were bad, and we won that argument. Battle tactics as tiebreakers is the same thing. And finally, this isn't really about core, but the indexes are very bland and simple. I'm hoping that that's just an index thing, and not an eventual battle tome thing. 3rd edition army rules were already too watered down from the high mark of 2nd edition for my taste, which had big sub-factions, lots of rules, and realm artifacts. I'm hoping 4e battle tomes are more like 2nd edition ones, and a lot less like 3rd edition ones. But maybe this is the price we pay for a more balanced game. It feels too safe, too on rails, too simple. Anyway, 4th edition's good so far. Looking forward to the battle tome. See ya.